You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work.
Yeah.
And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
Because Hollywood likes to sort of devalue black artists and black folk, because you get super talented people at a discounted rate.
Back when Larenz Tate was a sitcom kid, he did have a lot of shows that didn't last. And I'm pretty sure at one point he felt like his career was not going in the direction it should. See, this is a testament that what is for you, and things happen in divine timing.
The real deal is we don't own any platform the way we should. There's a few black-owned platforms, but we don't have a lot of outlets. We don't have as many. So we are not sort of governing over these entities or these corporations.
Katt Williams has often highlighted how Hollywood tends to reject those who remain true to themselves. According to him, it's usually the manufactured personalities, the gatekeepers, and those willing to play by the industry's unspoken rules who find success. Meanwhile, individuals who stick to their principles often get pushed aside. He believes this is exactly what happened to 1990s star Larenz Tate, a talented actor who made a lasting impact with roles in Menace to Society and Love Jones, consistently representing black excellence on screen. Then, without controversy or scandal, he quietly disappeared from the mainstream. There were no public meltdowns, legal troubles, or negative headlines. Larenz simply faded away, and the offers stopped coming. So the question naturally arises, why did Hollywood turn its back on one of the most gifted black actors of his generation? While Katt didn't say it outright, his remarks suggested a deeper story. It's possible that Larenz refused to take part in certain behind-the-scenes practices that others may accept in order to climb the ladder. In Hollywood, if you can't be controlled, you're seen as a threat, and threats are often removed from the spotlight. This makes us wonder, what exactly did Larenz say no to? What choices did he avoid that others may have accepted without question? And why did the industry choose to sideline a man with all the makings of a household name? Let's take a closer look at what might have really happened.
Like when I be like, all these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
During the 1990s, Larenz Tate was a prominent presence in Hollywood. He gained major recognition for his intense portrayal of a hot-headed gang member in Menace to Society. He later proved his range as an actor in Dead Presidents, taking on the role of a war veteran who turns to crime, delivering a performance filled with raw emotion and depth.
This young man has obviously forgotten some very fundamental things like decency and dedication and honor. Everything the Corps taught us. He is a disgrace to everyone that has ever put on that uniform, and I will not permit you or him to use the Vietnam War as a cop-out here.
In Love Jones, Larenz Tate won hearts with his portrayal of Darius Lovehall, a charming and poetic artist who left a lasting impression on audiences, especially women.
This is a little something I've been working on. It's new. I call it a blues for Nina. Ooh. Is that a smile me put on your face, child?
Larenz Tate wasn't just another actor. He felt like one of our own. Black men respected him and women adored him. He had undeniable talent, natural charm, and carried himself with grace and integrity. He stayed out of trouble, avoided the spotlight, and focused solely on his craft, and he excelled. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, everything shifted. There was no public scandal, no controversy, and no dramatic fall from grace. He simply began to disappear from major roles. One day, he was seen as Hollywood's next leading man, and the next, his rise appeared to be silently stalled, as if someone had hit mute on his momentum. That's what makes his situation so puzzling. When most careers decline in Hollywood, it's usually connected to a headline-making event, a rehab stay, a lawsuit, or a personal scandal. But in Lorenz's case, none of that happened. While he still works here and there, he's never regained the spotlight he once held. So what really happened? Katt Williams might have been onto something. Rumors suggest Larenz began turning down roles he found degrading or rooted in stereotypes, including several that reportedly required him to wear women's clothing. He refused. Larenz was looking for meaningful, layered characters. But in Hollywood, when you say no too many times, the calls eventually stop. The truth is, the entertainment industry has long been uneasy with too many confident, self-aware, talented black men who don't rely on its approval. That independence challenges the system. Historically, Hollywood has only allowed a few respectable black male actors to rise at any given time. They'll elevate one, give him awards, and offer longevity, while others are quietly pushed to the margins, often left with only supporting roles. Meanwhile, studios continue pouring money into films that revolve around inner-city struggles and generational trauma. Why? As filmmaker Spike Lee once pointed out, Hollywood profits from narratives rooted in black pain. These stories are familiar, marketable, and, more importantly, non-threatening to the industry's power dynamics.
Until we get in the position of being gatekeepers, if we're not in the room, if we don't have a green light vote, it's not getting done. Somebody at a studio has to say, we're making it.
So every time there is, as you said, everybody's talking about this is now a new wave of black films. Do you think it's
hogwash?
Hogwash. You don't think it signals a big shift in consciousness? No.
Not buying it.
Not buying it.
Shenanigans.
A black man who stands firm in his values and refuses to compromise for fame or money is often seen as a threat to the system. That kind of man becomes a role model, someone young people could look up to, someone who might challenge the status quo. And that's precisely what the industry works to suppress. Sure, they'll uplift one figure, like Denzel Washington, but even he had to work twice as hard, maintain near-perfect discipline, and avoid any missteps. Larenz Tate didn't fade away because he lacked talent. He disappeared from the spotlight because he wouldn't conform to the industry's expectations. And this is exactly the kind of issue Katt Williams has been calling out for years.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until...
No. Oh, no.
So they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay.
In the past, many dismissed Katt's claims, labeling him as bitter or unstable. But now, people are revisiting his words and starting to see the truth behind them. That realization is one of the reasons efforts were made to silence him.
Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
Katt Williams has frequently spoken about the hidden tests actors face in Hollywood. While many people focus on the idea of being asked to wear a dress, Katt explains that the issue isn't really about the clothing, it's about control and submission. Before someone is fully welcomed into the inner circle of the industry, they're often pushed to cross a personal line, something they wouldn't agree to if they truly held power. Once they give in, they become easier to control from that point forward.
That's what makes information so powerful is, you don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
It's a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is.
But Katt takes his insights even deeper, connecting them to a spiritual layer. He believes the issues in the industry go beyond simple corruption, suggesting they stem from something much more sinister. Katt links the so-called dress ritual to long-standing rumors of Baphomet worship among certain elites. In his view, it's not just about accepting specific roles. It's about submission, sacrifice, and giving in to a force that reaches far beyond the boundaries of Hollywood.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future.
Now, let's bring this back to Larenz Tate. He had everything: talent, the right image, and the respect of audiences. Yet he quietly stepped out of the spotlight, not because he lacked skill, but likely because he reached a turning point and chose not to go any further. In interviews, Larenz has hinted that his absence wasn't due to failure, but the result of a deliberate decision. He wasn't willing to compromise his principles or accept the kinds of roles being offered to him. But Larenz didn't just distance himself from Hollywood's system, he also began to speak out in ways that made the industry uncomfortable. He touched on topics many Black actors are often discouraged from addressing, especially the issue of unequal pay. Despite all the talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, Larenz openly pointed out that Black actors are still paid less than their white peers, even when they bring just as much talent, box office success, and audience loyalty.
We're twice as hard to get twice as less as our counterparts, right? And that being said, we're not valued. I believe we're supposed to be valued. So those budgets are really important for us so that we can have the kind of quality that we can present to the consumer. And the smaller the budget, the more creative you have to get. And we don't have resources oftentimes as our white counterparts.
This is the kind of truth Hollywood prefers to keep hidden. Black actors are often expected to accept whatever they're given, smile for the cameras, and avoid challenging the system. But the moment they speak up for fair pay or greater creative control, there are quiet repercussions. Just consider what happened to Taraji P. Henson and Monique. When they called out being underpaid and undervalued, they were quickly labeled as difficult or ungrateful. In contrast, white actors who push for multi-million-dollar deals are praised for knowing their worth and standing their ground.
I heard on the street, Taraji, you had the audacity to say you're thinking about stopping acting. We said, stop talking. Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathin'.
Larenz Tate took the conversation even further, pointing out that the issue goes beyond just salaries. Casting Black actors in lead roles and writing them checks doesn't equal real progress. The core problem lies in who holds creative control, who gets to choose which stories are told and which are silenced. As long as that power stays in the same hands, meaningful change remains out of reach. Without that control, representation becomes nothing more than a shallow symbol, rather than true equity.
Is we don't own any platform the way we should. There's a few black-owned platforms, but we don't have a lot of outlets. We don't have as many. So we are not sort of governing over these entities or these corporations to say, hey, you guys have a great story, y'all want to tell it, and there's money to be made, come here. So when we do find those places, everybody's trying to go through one keyhole. Everybody's trying to go through one tunnel. And even when you go to non-black owned places, they'll tell you to go over there because they have to find value in what we do. And that's changing quite a bit as we're making it very clear.
But Larenz Tate made a choice. He refused to compromise, and that's exactly why he was pushed to the sidelines. He didn't conform to expectations, didn't surrender his integrity, and never traded his self-respect for career advancement. The result? He was quietly excluded. The offers slowed down, major studio roles stopped arriving, and the media stopped paying attention. He went from being a rising star to nearly disappearing, not because his talent faded, but because he wouldn't allow himself to be controlled.
Historically, Hollywood has always taught us we don't translate overseas or worldwide.
Right.
But when you start traveling and you go everywhere and you can't walk down the street, you then know that there's been somebody telling you something all along that's wrong. And my true belief as to why they do it is because Hollywood likes to sort of devalue black artists and black folk because you get super talented people at a discounted rate. You get a Hollywood likes to get really talented black folks and get them at a discounted rate. Only, certain superstars that can hit that level that they would feel like they would put a machine behind. But the truth of the matter is we do translate because we're humans just like everyone else.
Hollywood didn't just sideline Larenz Tate. They quietly buried his career, as they often do with those who refuse to play by their rules. This is the system's way of handling people who are too dignified to be scandalized, yet too strong-willed to be controlled. But now, the truth is starting to surface. With Katt Williams mentioning Larenz by name, it brings real weight to the conversation. No matter how much the industry tries to silence these stories, they know that eventually, those in the know will begin to speak. Larenz Tate didn't simply fade away, he walked away, and now the real story is coming to light. So, what do you think really happened to Larenz Tate? Was it about refusing the behind-the-scenes rituals Katt Williams described? Was it mainly about being undervalued and underpaid? Or could the truth be even deeper than that? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to watch the next video.